Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. It is I, DigiDriver, welcoming you to your Sunday, July 16th, 2023. It's about 3 p.m. on the Eastern Seaboard, unless, of course, you're overseas or you're somewhere where it's Monday, in which case, happy Monday to you. I am back to stream for all of you. And I need to make the screen go away. Of course I do. We're going to be doing a little bit, actually a lot of bit of scenery dev this afternoon, and there's a good reason why. I have decided that this is going to be the last stream that I do prior to taking a big old break. I will be away from stream, away from Twitch, probably away from socials for about 3 weeks coming up starting next weekend, clear into the beginning of August. Details aside, I, Lord willing, have every intention of returning and picking up the baton again and getting back into scenery dev, but at the same time, those of you that know even the littlest bit about what I'm doing or where I'm going will probably understand anything short of me having unlimited funds and access to whatever I want is going to make streaming extremely difficult over the next determinate period of time. So clearly I want to take advantage of the day and enjoy it and stream for a couple of hours this afternoon, and then I'll probably be keeping in touch with you guys on the Discord and on other streams on Twitch. But by all means, once next weekend hits, I am literally, for all practical intents and purposes, dark on social media and Twitch. Air Emmerich, my friend, hello. Very good to see you. I am doing okay today. Doing okay. I was tired earlier today, but I'm feeling better now. Folks, if you haven't already done so, please feel free to go check out my friend Air Emmerich, a good friend of the channel and somebody that also streams flight sim as well. I do scenery dev, Air Emmerich does flights. But by all means, if you haven't already gone ahead, go ahead and give Air Emmerich a follow. Worthy of your time, will provide you a very nice, entertaining flight sim experience. I don't think you'll be disappointed. You got it, my friend. Now, while it is conceivable that we could park an Airbus A310 at this airport, we're not going to. We're probably not going to be flying today, but if we do, it'll probably be some kind of, GA thing. Also, for funsies, I got some brick or basically, Lego-ish cars. These are actually like 400% the size, but they're still not as big as like the actual cars, which makes it kind of funny to drive around. Getting to know about your dual setup audio. Ugh. Yeah, when I was really going for the whole setup, I was having difficulty with stuff like X-Plane. DeLorean 2399 2-month streak. Hello, friend. I am privileged to have you aboard. Folks, if you haven't already done so, feel free to go check out my friend DeLorean 2399 as well, who is in the process of a world tour, if I'm not mistaken. And also, if I'm not mistaken, the world tour has some conditions. Like it's not just like, I'm gonna get in a Boeing and fly around the world. DeLorean spiced it up, if I understood correctly. Because correct me if I'm wrong, friend, but didn't you have like a wheel of randomness that decided, not where you were going, but what you were flying or something like that? I'm gonna have to sneak into another one of your streams this week as I prep, but I will be away. I will be away for a while, which is why it's great to have you aboard. But I'm not going to get scenery dev done unless I get loaded into the airport. So let's go ahead and grab the Diamond DA40 NG and pick a random livery, semi-random, and more, because it's cool to have a livery named after a home appliance. And what's the no, it's not an Orbit Airlines plane. Although it's probably what they train with. You know what I mean? And it's not heavy, it's light. So, not the runway. This is weird. Sometimes you pick your start position, then you go away, and it picks the runway again anyway. I am literally choosing the parking position for departure. I'm going to see if it sticks. It should stick. Here we go. But yeah, folks, let's get started. Let's take a look at the current project that I'm working on right now, which is Plymouth Municipal Airport, which is Kilo Papa Yankee Mike, a general aviation airport just south of Boston. Boston, of course, has Boston Logan International Airport, a very big place, but at the same time, this is probably one of the bigger, probably one of the bigger GA airports that I've seen um, in general, at least in this part of the country. Seb, bonsoir, mon ami. Comment ça va? Je suis bien. Good to see you, friend. Welcome aboard. Um, Folks, again, if you haven't checked out MSEP, feel free to give MSEP a follow. MSEP streams occasionally, but I like hanging out and catching up and having a chat. MSEP has streamed a little bit as of late, so MSEP does put out content as well. Definitely worthy of a follow because I like hanging out when he does stream. You got it, friend. All right, let's load into dev mode and let's give you guys a status update on what the airport looks like right now, as soon as my sim unfreezes. There we go. Great. Are you going to let me load the project? There we go. A little slow, but it could be because I'm like on 2K and I have a 3060 Ti. Okay, folks, this is the old beacon. This is the beacon that's actually going to replace it. Now, I'm going to try to figure out how to get that light to go down there. Maybe even do it today. But let me give you guys a quick tour. The terminal's going to go here. I'm going to be working on that hopefully soon. But this is Plymouth Airport. There's a lot of work left to be done, but because of the hard work of friends like Eric Flight, I have a much more realistic layout for the airport in terms of runways, taxiways, and some of the buildings. So this is actually my latest project. I created, and you'll excuse the basic caps on where the light's supposed to go. But basically, this is my first time creating a custom beacon tower. This is actually about 32 feet high. I think we measure up to the top of the guardrail before you get to like those antennas and stuff like that. And it took me a little while to do, and it certainly needs some extra work. But whoa, Pavlin coming through with a tier 1 sub. Okay, friend, I appreciate that. You didn't even have to do it this time. You're cool. You're cool. But certainly respect your support as well. So I finally got back into animating objects, and this one took me a little bit to figure out. And of course, this is a little sparse on details too, but it's detailed enough that I can do stuff like having a weather spinny thingy, as I like to call it, a tiny weather station on top of that. There's still plenty for me to do. I also have some custom buildings, which I need to flesh out some more. Like I keep saying, I think I need to change out these doors so they slide open instead of go up vertically, but they're not animated. They're just there for show. For show. This is for service vehicles, and I probably have some equipment there at some point. Meanwhile, I started doing some work to fix up the parking spaces here. These parking spaces are white. These are, I believe, what they're called transient spots. The rest of them have mostly yellow, but sometimes different colors here. There are emergency vehicles, which I believe are supposed to be parked here. So I might even put a few trucks in today while we do some scenery development. And these are, for lack of a better phrase, probably no parking spots or just incredibly transient spots. The rest of these are yellow spots for typical parking. That's at this airport. These are default buildings. I'm eventually going to get them replaced. These are the custom hangars that we have that I've created in the past. I'm debating whether or not I want to make those open by, how close you get to the building and then open in proximity. But since these buildings are one piece, I don't know if getting close to the building in general is going to open all of them. So I have to pick. I have to pick. These are nondescript helipad start positions, and the taxiways are taxi lines that are default. So I can't make these any more orange than they are, but I might still try to create custom taxi signs that light up because I mean, I know this is informative, but I kind of don't like the way that these look. So at some point, maybe at least with the 2.0 release, I'll go ahead and create custom signs. But we have the runways modeled. We have the additional taxiway modeled all the way at the end of the runway. And we have a whole bunch more start positions here. I think I'm probably going to make these yellow as well because I think these are yellow too. Um, there is another person on Twitch who is seriously, I'm a pilot that also flies out, but he flies out of the east ramp. So I believe he can confirm whether these are yellow or not, but I can also check some previous pictures that he shared. Oof. Oh man, I hope that your P3D issue gets resolved soon, friend. I hope so. Also, I messed around a little bit, and since the default building which was here actually wasn't here, since this is just a concrete pad, I added some, I guess you could call this, I don't know if this is filler or concrete or like cement or something like that. But yeah, this is just a pad. There used to be a default building here. We've stripped it out. I still need to add the weather station, and I forget if this is like a weather vane or something exactly. I need to spend some time and do some more research, or just take a look at the old messages that I shared with Eric Flight to find out what that actually was. And you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to actually load the Google Maps replacement imagery because we're looking at Bing imagery right now, which means that this is actually kind of sort of incorrect. Well, the Bing imagery, I believe, is older. It's not as new. Also, I do think this taxiway is wider than what I've made it right now, but I forget exactly how it's supposed to be. And between you and me, I'm not I'm not looking forward to pulling it over to the side again, but I will do it once I know, and then we'll have that ready. Because, sometimes you do stuff and it winds up being the wrong way. That's just life. You learn from your mistakes and you make it better next time. So yeah, we've got probably about 65 to 70% of the airport done. I've also managed to get some additional details filled in. These are actually cranberry bogs, but I'm assuming there are some places around here that have water features like this. I'm assuming. And there is a cranberry, like these are cranberry bogs all over. And there were some default buildings inside one of the cranberry bogs, which I removed here. And we have some solar panels, which I'm assuming are for the facilities. I've gone ahead and put a fence around them, and I've also added a few default details as well to kind of make this place lived in. I pretended that there were some power generators here or something that actually modulated the solar power that was being generated in a service truck. And when you go around the airport, if you're going to go in places where you don't normally go, then you're going to have stuff like this notice. And of course, you have the runways themselves, the PAPI lights, and this is something I believe which you use to calibrate your wet compass, because there's something called gyro drift, which I encountered when I was actually flying an X-Plane 11 around the Corpus Christi, southern Texas area in the Cessna, in the I think the six-pack Cessna, some streams back. And yeah, one of my friends, Complete Freedom, told me, hey, you're gonna have drift. You're gonna have to keep calibrating the wet compass to keep keep your maintain your bearings. And of course, we have some of the buildings I worked on just recently, which are these hangars, these little hangars that look like storage containers, which they're not. You can park a small enough plane into them. Some signage, and some more of these mini hangars, and then the big hangars here, and of course the Alpha One Flight School and hangars. So you come in through here, you can actually have a seat, grab a mug, sit down, make yourself some coffee. Well, I mean, if I really wanted to go bananas and go over the top, I could probably make the coffee machine start up when you walk in the building. But one step at a time, Digi. And of course, we have the hangars. These are fully open, and of what I understand, there's supposed to be a miniature office inside. So we're gonna wind up making this place look more lived in. But that's where you guys come in. I am trying to figure out how to make this happen, and I mean, doing something like starting a business or making a really expansive scenery, even if it's just for a general aviation airport. If you want to add the details, you need time, and that's not something I have a lot of right now this week, since I'm going to be going away. But when I come back, Lord willing, I'm hoping to have a very clear plan for finishing this airport. I know I said before I wanted to finish it in February, finish it in April, finish it in June, finish it in July. And on my Discord, I just said, you know what? I'm done. It'll be done when it's done. And I'm going to provide the best levels of detail I can for a version 1.0 release. And then, we can come back to it and we can keep iterating through it. So that's what I'm doing right now. Now, let me see something. I'm going to try to see if I can find any pictures of the airport on the east ramp. I believe that my friend Eric Flight is I think he's going to be taking some east ramp pictures. I forget when. But I'm taking a look at a satellite picture he took for me, and there's going to be a lot more lights that are installed in the airport once we get done. But I need to find a picture of the I need to find a picture of the parking spots at this airport. I can assume that these are probably going to be yellow as well. So, excuse me. Wait. I know he took some pictures recently, or somebody did. I am checking something. Was it in my DMs? It could have been. It could have been. Let me see. The pics of the pavement. Oh, yeah, actually, hold on. So, I'm going to open this up here and make sure this is muted, just in case it kicks on. Okay, so there were some pre-alpha editing sessions that we've already had, where I wrote down what some of the comments were. Okay, so one of the first things I need to do is ignore this for now and go up to the north ramp parking spots. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to change these spots to yellow. I thought they were supposed to be white before. So when I created the painted lines, I had a material added to them, like a rough paint material. So when you remove them, the default lines are oh wait, is this an apron? It's an apron. Okay, okay. That's interesting. They're not painted lines. I created aprons. Okay, okay. So we're going to keep the rough paint material, but we're going to we're going to enable coloration, and I'm going to go find out what the other color was that I assigned the other spots, because I changed these. So it is 158, 140. So there's going to be some variance in terms of, yellow from spot to spot. And yes, I am going to be doing this by hand because I don't think you can change colors for everybody in one shot. Asobo, if you're watching, if there's a way to assign coloration for multiple aprons at once, that would be superb. So join me, won't you? We're going to go to yellow, and it's probably going to be fine. I said 158, 140. Oh, wait a minute. I'm making this way harder on myself than I need to. Okay, select this. Can I not just copy the hex value? Yeah, 98C00. That should probably be a lot faster. That'll save me some headaches. All right, let's try it. There we go. Conceivably, I can always make them all the same and then just tweak the colors a little bit, but I'm not worried about that today. I wanna make some ground here. And I think I'm going to be checking out one or two other airports as well. I'm not going to one-shot an airport today. There's just not enough time for me to do that. But I'm going to do some work here. And then we're going to go revisit an airport from a very good friend of mine, Arch NDA. Arch, if you're watching, we're probably going to spend a little bit of time back in Gaston's airport today, and probably a little bit of time in Blender. I'm going to at least try to make the welcome signs for the resort. And if you guys aren't paying attention, that is 3 Mike 0. It's a private, no, it's a public airport. It's basically like a little semi-private resort that's in Lakeview, Arkansas. And it was a very interesting place that Arch introduced me to, and I'm happy to go there and try to model it a bit more. Okay, gotta postpone the trip. Yeah. Once upon a time, I tried doing a world tour in FSX, and I think I probably would have gotten further if it wasn't for the fact that I think I broke my Flight SimX install because I was adding AFCAT files to find more realistic depictions of the base airports. But the problem was I had so many of them, I think, that the scenery library just couldn't keep up. And they were all in I think I put them all in like one folder. So it's not like I tried to, create 50 different airports. At least I don't think I did. All right, give me just a moment, guys. I'll be right back. Hi, Sogan. Good to see you, Sogan Okami. Be right back. Hello, folks. I have returned. Hope you're doing well. Hello, Sogan Okami. Good to see you. Welcome aboard. We are doing some more scenery dev work today, and I plan on visiting at least one other airport and doing some work. And obviously, after today's stream, I'm probably not going to be streaming the rest of this week. I will definitely not be doing anything for a while when once I hit next weekend because I will be away from Twitch and away from socials. But yeah, man, Pavlin, I sympathize. Sometimes you really wanna do a flight, and actually, the last time that something like that happened to me, I was still using a laptop predominantly for gaming. And I remember the one day I wound up moving some furniture, and a very heavy piece of furniture I had to move, or I was moving and I was trying to get stuff done really quick for some friends coming over. And the next thing I know, I dropped it on top of the cord for my laptop. And I mean, that thing probably weighed somewhere between 100 to 150 pounds easily. So when I tried to pull the cord, it was toast. So I had to order a replacement battery and power adapter, and that took about a like 4 days, 4 days at minimum. So I couldn't use the laptop for 4 days. So when you can't do something that you're accustomed to doing, it I mean, I don't know if you're like me, but that irritated me for a little while. Uh, yeah. Oh, so did you mean that you were going to be streaming and now you won't be able to, or are you kappa-ing, my friend? Kappa kappa. Welcome aboard, buddy. Good to see you. We're doing some of the typical work here. We gotta get these spots fixed up because these are actually yellow lines for the north ramp instead of white ones like I had before. I thought they were, but I guess I was wrong. And let me just confirm that. Let me just confirm that. North ramp parking spots painted yellow. Unless, of course, there were ones that were supposed to be like that. Hold on, let me just check something. Yeah, yeah. So they were supposed to be yellow, and I painted them white instead. So where is it? Right there. Oh, are you having difficulty with power management on your computer, or are you talking about you've really run out of space on your hard drive, and the stuff that's running is having difficulty keeping things free? There's some stuff about that that I don't remember. I mean, I got to be careful too because I've had my rig now for it was like almost winter of 2021 when I got my current rig, and I did remove my air cooler, and I did reapply thermal paste to the CPU. I also I also did take a look at my power consumption. I have an 850 watt PSU, running my Ryzen 5900X and the 3060 Ti. So out like I kind of eyeballed the numbers real quick. I think I'm somewhere between 400 to probably maybe 600 watts under load, which I believe should keep me fine. Okay, okay, so you have zero problems with your PSU, and Sogan, you sound like you put more than a nominal amount of maintenance into your rig, so you should be okay too. The first dedicated rig that Mrs. Digi bankrolled was in 2019, and that got me into X-Plane, and actually I did fly FS 2020 on that. I had a Ryzen 5, and I had a NVIDIA 2060 Super, and it did okay. It did okay. The details weren't, phenomenal, but FS 2020 ran, and it ran okay. And I was able to do flights and stuff like that. I mean, you guys remember that was back in 2020. So I had X-Plane 11 and FS 2020, and I bounced back and forth between them as needed. Once we got past, I think, like system update 5 and 6, the sim started really kind of taking off in terms of, in my opinion, stability and updates. So I'm happy I stuck around. I'm happy I didn't bin the install and decide to, go back to P3D and do only X-Plane while everybody else was doing MSFS. So there you go. Windows, having trouble? I used to reinstall my Windows on a regular back when I was in college. That was back in the days of like Windows 98. So I had a plan and a strategy, and I just like I kept that like I was trying to keep my PC as lean as possible, like ultra lean for gaming. Nowadays, I do dev, so this is what I do. Oh, okay, okay, that's interesting. Well, I will say one thing. I felt I felt motivated. I really, really felt motivated to want to reapply thermal paste because I usually like the performance boost overdrive that's available on the AMD uh, processors. You can use that in certain cases to really give you better performance, like better single core performance, which is what we know FS 2020 has. It runs single core. And the reason why I can say that with confidence is because this was based on FSX. Yes, FS 2020, when you rip all of the flash out and you get down to like the synthetic scenery and what happens when you don't have any satellite imagery, that's like that's bare bones FSX, I think, in the guts of the machine. But I mean, it's a nice looking sim. Not even gonna lie, it's nice. It is nice. Consult generic 5. I need to see you. Okay, let's get rid of the material. And that's a yellow taxiway. That's right, you did. You did. I have I have Cinnamon running on an old laptop, and I'm seriously impressed how nicely it still runs. And I use Ubuntu on it still, and it's nice to be able to actually use those operating systems and kind of use them well. And that laptop only has like 4 gigs. Yeah, 4 gigs of RAM, just 4 gigs, and it still works. So that impressed me extremely. Okay, I want to take a look at the backing textures. Yes, I need to create more stuff. So I need to create another apron, and that's going to be for the taxi lines to go back. Yeah, yeah, I would agree with your statement. I think I was coming from it from a perspective of extreme oversimplification, but yeah, they didn't just strip FSX down to its roots and then build a new sim around it. I think they basically took it down to like the wireframe and said, okay, assuming all this, let's keep what we can, get rid of what we can't, and then create a better sim. And all things considered, I feel like they did. So that's obviously my opinion. And the beauty of opinions is that everybody gets to have one. So by all means, sound off if you like. Of course, don't sound off too much, because otherwise things are gonna get weird. And you know, then we have to kind of start enforcing, hey, be nice. Mouse is not moving. Okay, let me just create the dots first and then reposition things as need be. So, why am I doing this? Because you have a yellow taxi line on even like, a semi-bright concrete surface. You're probably going to have difficulty seeing it. So I'm creating the dark background, kind of like how on the internet, if you take white text and wrap it with a black outline, you can see it against any color background. Any. So there you go. This is theoretically possible to do this way, and this airport has taught me you can create custom backing textures for your taxiways. But going forward, I'm probably going to try to learn how to do things like projected mesh and do as much design as I can in Blender, because then that means I'm just going to be able to plunk it down in the sim once I'm ready to position it. And meshes will probably be separate from the buildings that get placed, but the benefit of mesh is that once you place it, it'll drape itself over the ground. So you're not gonna have to worry about taxiway lines sticking out in the air. Oh, no worries, friend. No worries. Logan, I don't think you're wrong. If I can run mint cinnamon on a dual core i3 with 4 gigs of RAM and still be able to go online and still be able to watch YouTube videos, like, what does that say about the operating system? Yeah, seriously though, Aaron, no worries about it. I'm glad that you're lurking with us. If I can use like if I can use like almost a 13-year-old laptop today, come on. Like, that's an achievement in my mind. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Sound off in chat, but that's how I feel. But something with terrain is not right. Yeah, that could be. That could be. Because my PC wasn't very strong at the time, I usually kept my terrain levels of detail in FSX pretty low because I think that's where a lot of my CPU cycles got chewed up, and that gave me a little bit of latitude for auto gen placement and scenery detail. Not much. I mean, I was simming with between 12 to 22 frames per second back then. So again, I have flirted with the idea a non-zero number of times to have my next PC be a Linux PC. The thing keeping me squarely in Windows is, of course, aside from many apps that I use that are Windows based or Windows only, Flight Sim 2020, or in our case, Flight Sim 2024. But on the one hand, if I got to the point where I could have a computer just set up to run FS 2020 or FS 2024, like if that was its sole purpose, kind of like what happens when you have, a console. The purpose of a console is to play video games. I mean, some people use their consoles for, multimedia streaming and stuff like that. But if I figured out some way to build a computer that didn't cost me that much and had a decent enough graphics card that let me run FS 2020 and FS 2024, and all it did was do that, then I could probably focus the remaining monies on a desktop all-purpose rig that I would use in Linux. And the upshot is probably that whatever money I had left over would probably still give me a decent build. And that's just my opinion. All right, let's see. North ramp, um, main, taxi, backing. Okay, let's increase the priority. There we go. Okay. So honestly, this is not bad. I'm happy with this. Let's go ahead and remove, or was it one click placement? Yeah. I can't have that on because otherwise I'll start creating a new thing. And now I can play with this a little bit, pull it out, and it's not perfect. And we've talked about this before. I think I actually like that it's not perfect because it means it feels a lot more like, you know, you weren't painting it with AI. Like somebody was actually on a paint truck going over the curves, and, their hand might have gotten it really well here and it might have slipped up on like the next inch. The first time that I got turned on to the idea of having two PC setup was specifically because of Twitch streaming. Now, I think you'll agree that PC gaming and PC power has improved to the point where you can reliably stream and game on one computer. But the idea of having something dedicated to the games and the idea of having something which is dedicated to streaming them would would make it theoretically possible to have a less potent computer on both sides of the equation. So if you knew your computer was only going to be used to stream, you wouldn't need an extremely powerful graphics card. Like a 3060 or maybe even a 3050 would probably take care of you. I won't lie. I think I think the idea of having a dual PC setup would be bank. Now, I've heard of, just using an old laptop to be a stream setup, but I forget if you need to have it directly connected to a network port on your router, or if it just needs to be something that your computer, your gaming PC can actually see on the network and then just choose to use it. SG Child, hello, my friend. Very good to see you. Welcome aboard. Very glad to have you today. I am doing some scenery development at Plymouth Municipal Airport, and then after a little bit of time, I'm going to jump really quick to Gaston's Airport in Lakeview, Arkansas, and we're going to try to see if we can make a custom sign for the airport. And if I can build a custom sign and place it today, then I will probably upload that little update to flightsim.to. That way you can have a nice little sign coming into the airport. And yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to have too much more time after this to work on other stuff. But again, welcome. I'm sorry, I was just reading Sogan's comment. Let's see, maintain the flow state. I'm assuming by flow state you mean you want to make sure that the PC is capable of handling all your media and playing it reliably, so that your stuff doesn't start to get choppy. If you're building a media rig today, I would assume you'd probably be going for a minimum of like a 3050 or a 3060, whether or not those are TIs to handle the data, and probably like a Ryzen 7 or even a Ryzen 5 that was running at like 3.6 gigahertz would probably be quite fine, quite fine for the media streaming. Yes. So, okay. The yellow line, that is a default taxi line. I can also create invisible taxiways and establish more detail over how those lines are painted by making the taxi line a painted line and then overlaying a material on top of it. But at the same time, you can, I think, add a custom material. So I think I just solved my problem. I thought I couldn't paint default taxi lines. Maybe I'm wrong because we had rough paint. Eric Flight told me that the taxi lines could probably stand to be like a touch more orange. So I'm gonna have to take a look at that a little bit more going forward. But yeah, you could put a painted line down first and then put an apron around it. That way the apron would serve as a way of making your painted line stand out. Oh, flow state of mind. Being in the zone. I see. Yes. Sogan, as a software developer, I understand. You wanna stay in that zone where you can think about um, good chunky concepts of code and just crank out code without being taken out of it, because it takes you a while to get back into the zone when you spend time in a meeting, or you're in a planning session with somebody, or you're helping somebody solve a problem and you have to get back to your project. That's what flow state is. I get it. Yeah, I totally respect that. Let's move this out a little bit more. Voice meter potato. Nice. Okay, so not bad. We got those painted yellow, and we got the main taxi line to go all the way back here. And this one, oh, that's right. This doesn't, I don't think that needs to be there anymore. Let me double check my notes. And yeah, we don't need this parking space. This actually isn't a parking spot for an aircraft. Or what I can just do is make it a spot you can spawn into if you want, but it's not going to be an official spot. This doesn't exist as an official spot at this airport. So I can get rid of that T, and I can probably just keep that spot if you want it, but it's just not going to be selectable. So we have that. I don't think this is a parking spot either. Let me double check. Yeah, let me double check. I think we caught that. Oh, I got to get rid of a different painted T. Hold on. Hold on. I'm just going through my notes. So, north parking. What did I do? Parking. Create the asphalt and parking spots for the east ramp buildings. So, what do we have? Oh, need to be lighter yellow? That's weird. Okay, now I remember. This this isn't even an official spot. I don't know if the fence kind of like stops this, if this is an actual hangar. I think this is an actual hangar, but you don't park the plane out here. You go inside the hangar. So this may have to be replaced eventually. This may be a function of this property, because it's way more over here than over here. But I'm going to do two things. I'm probably going to get rid of this spot since it doesn't make any sense for it to be here. And what spot was this? This was North Parking 31, Service 1. I don't know. I don't know. I think I think I'm going to keep just those two spots there, but I'm going to make them invisible. So right now, they don't have any lines pointing to them. The only problem is that if I leave those spots there and you use FSLTL and you plug in GA traffic, it's going to look like there are planes that are parked there. I wanted those lines to be there for convenience, those spots to be there for convenience. Those green circles are what they call start positions. So when you're on the world map and you load up KPYM and you choose where you want to spawn in, you can choose to spawn in here, you can choose to spawn in here, or you can choose to spawn in any of these spots or any of the other spots down there. So I don't know if those planes show up on the Google imagery. So I'm probably going to replace this entire slab with some grass. I can do that by creating a new apron. And what would I do? What would I do? What would I do? Let me just close stuff up so I'm not confused too much. Where would I put it? Probably in the apron section, because it is an apron. It's not going to be a north parking spot. It's not going to be a west parking spot. And it's not going to be a dark background spot because we're not putting something down for the taxiway light lines. I think it's going to be just a regular apron. So, default apron. This is to cover these airplanes, but I'm going to experiment by trying to replace this entire spot here. So, when you are creating aprons, as you learn how to place them, don't stress too much about where your initial dots go. I spend a lot of time sometimes being like, oh, should I put that dot here? Should I put that dot there? Build the uh, build the apron texture first, and then you can continue to add more dots as you need to, either by subdividing line segments or by going back into edit mode. That gets a little tricky though, so you generally want to try a little bit of effort to get your lines to show up the way that you want them to on the first try. Just don't go nuts. Don't try to get it absolutely perfect because you're probably not going to succeed, and that's okay. It's okay. It's like this idea that I had for a long time of, oh, I want to make scenery. And then I take a look at somebody like FSim Studios or Fly Tampa or Flight Beam, and then you go, oh my word, they built San Jose. I'm uh, like, my scenery is absolutely just binned in comparison. It's like, don't say that. Don't sell yourself short. I still do that, and Mrs. Digi can attest. But at the same time, understand this is a process. If you want to get good at this, you're going to it's going to be an iterative improvement. Testing some settings. All right. Lord willing, they work. Oh, and of course, with certain objects, certain default objects, there seems to be like a bounding box on them. So don't be surprised if the default objects stop you from moving past a certain point. As a matter of fact, you should probably expect it. What I might do is put some trucks here and here. But once I cover this with grass or something similar to it, it'll probably not matter much where I put the trucks down. I get it. Um, if you're creating autogen or even just updating the vegetation, it's gonna consume space. So yeah, I get you. Oh yeah, I created a section in our Discord to showcase the projects that you guys are working on. So now we can keep the conversation focused on stuff like KPYM and the sceneries that I'm releasing on the one channel, and just have one channel on Discord totally for the projects you guys are working on. All right. So we don't want concrete, we want grass. And we'll go to Asobo Ground and try a few materials first. We're going to want fjord grass. Yes and no. Yes and no. It's kind of semi sort of transparent because you can see the underlying satellite imagery. And forest is nice, but it's kind of overblown. About grass too. Grass 2 is nice. We need to make it a little bit more muted, and then we can say this is good. All right. So this is probably where I'm going to stop for KPYM, just so I have a little bit of time to take a look at gas duds. But let's do this. Let's take a look at opacity. This is fully transparent and this is fully opaque. I want as much transparency as I can without showing too much of the stuff underneath. So if I look at it from above, when do the satellite textures start to show? Okay, so right about here is where it starts to really get difficult to notice. And I kind of like that because it's almost like there was some grassy stuff here, but once we got once we got all this concrete poured in, it just kind of got ruined. This, in my opinion, is probably good enough to be blended in with the rest of the scenery without looking like it's a humongous texture. So good. And we're going to call this North Ramp Grass Satellite Image Replacement. Okay, so it's a long name, I get it, but now we got rid of the satellite imagery, and now I can probably put a service truck on the grass directly. So back to objects. Last bit of thing I do for here, and then we're going to leave. The North Hangar Park cars. There we go. Scenery. For now, I think I'm going to actually use traffic cars because I want more detail. And then we're going to see what happens if I have to choose between one or the other. And we're going to say traffic, truck, truck utility. There should be utility somewhere. There's red, but you're not going to park a red van on the grass unless you're delivering, like food. A facility truck. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna do something like this. I'm going to add this truck here, and I'm going to pick the facility truck, and I'm going to add that truck here too. So we have two trucks, and now I can choose them both, and I can reposition them. So again, because I hit most of the satellite imagery with the grass apron, I don't really have to spend too much time worrying about exactly how the truck's going to load. And I can still see enough of the sat nav image to put them in place. And now I can rotate this one. You know what I can do? I can just grab the heading from this guy and go here and do that. And that's a really easy way to point your trucks where they're supposed to go. Again, we've talked about this at length before, so I'll say it briefly. I still have no clue why, with a 3060 Ti, this more detailed model looks blurry on mine. That's why I go with the very much blocky but sharper textured versions of the vehicles if they're going to be static scenery. I, they just look better. Even though the tires look like they're going to just make the ride incredibly uncomfortable, the textures in general look better from a distance and especially up close. So there we go. Got that taxi line put in. I've got these things painted. Did I change anything else down here? I don't know. I'm probably going to take a look at these this week and see if I can change the color as well. There's a lot more work that we have to do, but we're going to go ahead and save where we are right now and do a build and export. Actually, no, just a build all because I'm not a marketplace member. I don't know if I want to be a marketplace member right now. I think if I was going to try to sign up for the Microsoft Marketplace, I would wait until FS 2024 released, but that's just me. I am not established as a marketplace member right now. If I was, then I'd probably be able to, attempt to put some scenery there to see if I can make a few extra bucks. But that's done. And tonight or a little bit later, I'm going to make a backup copy of this. And that's it. Let me go ahead and jump over to Gaston's and load in. And again, folks, thanks so much for stopping in today. Appreciate having you on board. I am doing a few things before closing time for some weeks, and I'm hoping to have a very nice recharge with Mrs. DG and fam, and we're going to be doing things. Yes, I know, it's not very descriptive. Yes, I'm keeping it that way on purpose. Unless, of course, you've hung out with me in a place or two where I've been more descriptive about what I was going to do. In which case, you already know. If you don't, you don't. If you do, you do. So, let's load into to Lakeview here, and we'll go to the next phase of the broadcast, which is going to be adding a sign here. Terrain was deleted. Whoa. Okay. I don't know where this is, but that river looks amazing. Okay, so let's load into Gaston's and we're going to show you the changes that I've made to this airport. This airport is available on flightsim.to and it is free. Boom. Okay, don't mind the fact that there is a static vehicle parked here. That's okay. The rest of it should probably load in a few seconds. So we've released a grass strip airport on flightsim.to. This invisible runway here, this is the entire runway. You have a grass strip leading to the parking area here. You have some buildings that I appropriated from a different default project. I think this was part of the Oceanic and South Pacific update. These are probably the some of the service buildings, but I think there's like either a restaurant or a main hangar here where you I guess you have hangouts or stuff. I have to learn more from Arch to find out what's up. Here is where I want to put the sign. So I need to find an image really quickly, and then we need to jump into Blender and I need to create the actual sign, which is going to be rendered and placed here. So let me jump and open a window and go find Gaston's airport. And find images. Actually, not images. I can go straight to the Gastons.com site and gallery. Oh, forgive my lack of brain ability here. I have a Google Maps link saved for the airport. So I'm going to share my screen. You guys can see my browser. We're going to go out and we're going to go to the main entrance. I'm sincerely tempted to regrass this area. And I'm hoping that the textures that are available in the sim can, change with the seasons. And if not, we'll just pick green and say whatever. Have a great night, Air Americ. Rest well, friend, and thank you so much for stopping in. We appreciate you. Take care. Okay, so this is what I want to model. And because enough of this is available, I should probably be able to use it without too much trouble. So let's grab this. We're going to use this as a texture and we're going to create a very basic sign, which is going to be dumped into the middle of that area, which I showed you before. It looks like there's some really big trees right next to it. So there's plenty of detail I can add. It just takes some time. So again, step one is probably going to be copying this. There's no way that I can get closer to this logo. Not that one. Not that one. I want this one. What about you? You are probably. Oh, no, 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 no. You're way more. You're way. You're way blurrier. I think I'm going to have to use this level of detail here. So I'm going to copy this and we're going to create the. Wait a minute. I just realized something. I just realized something. The place where I loaded in has. No, it's just it's a more color drained version of the same logo. So I want this one. Okay, so that's what we have to do. Let me go ahead and load into Blender, and we are going to try to build a sign in about 20 minutes. Here we go. This could get interesting really quickly. So we'll stay in general, and I will also open up paint.net. You won't see that happen, and it's okay because I don't want to spend too much time in paint.net. I really just want to build something very, very basic. I took all the color info out of the new slab, and we're going to make a 1024 by 1024 pixel square. You need your textures to be multiples of 4 in terms of size, and they have to be square. So I'm going to paste the image. Oh, wow. Okay. And then I'm going to take the image and I'm going to drape it. It needs to be, this needs to be bigger. It needs to be bigger and it needs to fit. Actually, I goofed. I need to bring the image down and then stretch it. Arch, if you're watching, my apologies in advance. The first version of this logo is going to be super blurry, at least a little bit. But you know what? Let me see if I have a paint.net screen capture that I can share with you guys, because I am working on textures first. Where is it? Where is it? Is it here? No, it's just the browser. Overlay browser. Where am I going for? Oh, I don't have one. Okay, okay. All right, well, it'll be, radio narration, so I apologize. But I am trying to clean up the image that I got of the Gaston's White River Resort logo. And this is freeware, so I feel like I'm going to take some additional liberties with the logo. I'm assuming the better version of the logo is on the site, so I can just go to the site and find the logo. The problem with the logo on the site is that it's not the same color. It's definitely sharper, but it is not the same. Do they have any logos of the entrance? I wonder. I don't see any so far. So we're going to work with what we have. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Can I clean up the text? Conceivably, I could. There's a registered trademark logo there. Actually, you want to know what? I kind of don't care. For the next like 15 minutes, I can probably get away with just using what we have. So that's fine. I'm going to save the texture that I've created as a PNG file, and I'm going to put it somewhere. Oh, well, I haven't even made the sign yet, so it would help if I made the sign. It would. All right, so okay, first off, are there any things that are signs in the sim? Let's look together really quickly. Let me see if we can find a base model that's a sign. So, sign. These are taxi signs. And what are you, by the way? I'm curious. I know you're a taxiway sign, but yeah, you look interesting. Huh. You do look interesting. These are overseas signs. That's fine. Electric sign. Nice. At least I know what to look at for inspiration when I build signs for KPYM. That's cool. Wait a minute. Wasn't Deer Lake the airport that Canuck wanted me to make for him? Huh. I'm gonna have to check that out now. Somebody might have beat me to the punch. And that's just base scenery, so that could be cool. What's this? No, no, I don't want that. Attention, active runway, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, yeah, I'm not worried about this. So that's good. I kind of know what I want. I'm gonna have to make it from scratch, but that's fine. I'm going to create something quickly based on what we have. And I'm going to just use base colors for the support and put the texture on the part that's shown. Iowa Scotsman, hello. Thank you for the resub. 24 months strong, friend. Thank you so much for your support. How did the rest of your flight go yesterday? Because I dipped because it was starting to get late. Let me actually do this. What was the other sign that I built? I'm gonna look at a different sign. Don't see if it changes. Go to. I want to see. I want to see how big the no parking sign is. This is about 2.13 meters high, which would be about 6 to 7, maybe even 8 feet, which is pretty good. So 2 is pretty good. Yeah, it definitely got late. Um, then the thunderstorms came through my area, so I was up late at night with the rain coming through. It boomed outside my house twice, loud. It woke my wife up from a sleep. Seriously, it was like just kaboom, kaboom. It was loud. So 0.05, maybe zero point 0.1 for the sign. Yeah, point 0.1, point 0.1, and then about 2 meters high. And then we can kind of just extrapolate as we go. Okay, great. Now I know what to do. Now I know what's going to come be inserted. And 2 meters for the height, and for the width, it'll be 0.1, like I said. You want thunderstorms. Good. I mean, rain and hydration and, nourishment for plants to grow and do stuff, that's a good thing. Like, incredibly close by, incredibly loud, boom. it, that's the kind of thing that like gets your attention. At 3 a.m., I want sleep. I don't want boom. Like, at like 7 o'clock in the afternoon, sipping some tea and just watching, a small little thunderstorm roll across, preferably in the distance, so I can see all the lightning. Superb. Superb. Okay. That should be enough for me to put it down, and now I can duplicate this. So I'm not going to spend too much time thinking about what the name stuff, but I'll try to name stuff pretty quickly as I go. Signpost 1. And then we'll duplicate that. So we'll say copy, paste, signpost 2. And I'm going to make this a very base model. And then we're going to do this. What is this? We started at 0 and we go for, how big would that be? Would that be about 6 feet wide? Yeah, I guess so. Oof, 100-degree heat. Ew. That's strong stuff. Um, yeah, I used to think about living in certain places where the weather was different. The weather was like, constant, constantly cold, constantly hot. But m- mid-Atlantic states, 4 seasons, I like. So we're going to duplicate this one really quickly and create the sign texture, or the sign itself. And now we're going to move this one into the middle, I would say at about -1. And now we can stretch it out. Not like that, more like this, and probably even more like this. Okay, so it has to be 2? Probably. Like that? No, it could be a lot smaller. So probably 1.9, and let's get close. It's Cargo Fire. Hello, my friend. It is very good to see you. Folks, please let me take a few minutes to talk to you about Cargo Fire. Cargo Fire was putting out flight sim content. That is true. Cargo Fire also did take a break from streaming for a non-zero number of months. That's also true. But do you also know what Cargo Fire did? Cargo Fire came back, is streaming on a fairly regular basis, and now has a kind of streaming program where he does flight sim, he does racing, he talks about racing sometimes during flight sim, and he has some, I think they're fairly regular programs now, if I'm not mistaken. But if you guys didn't know, man, you should probably go check out Gargo's channel. Give him a follow right now. Um, I have been watching, and I have been appreciating the content. So, welcome aboard, friend, and glad to have you. Okay. So, this is probably not going to look like the exact same sign from Gaston's. This is just an extremely simplified case in point. I am just creating a surface to put the texture on. And we're going to save this first, and then we're going to stick it in the scenery. And a lot of other stuff's going to disappear, and that's fine. You are welcome, sir. It has been an adventure, to be sure, for the both of us. But I mean, you know, last year for me was less than ideal, and it is a privilege to have folks like you to stick it out with. I am picking a directory now to find where to put my new sign. And I think I'm just going to make it 3M0 Gaston's um, sign 1. And now I can do the same thing in here. 3M0 Gaston's sign 1. Blend, and now it's saved. Okay, now we can go to the material mode and we can choose this face. I said choose this face. Oh, actually, I'm glad I did that. Oh, no, I don't need to. It's actually three-dimensional. Good. Oh, yeah. To each their own, Pavlin. I'm happy to have you here, and I'm glad that you have a strong passion for flight simming. So do I. But I won't lie at all. Seeing cargo do racing has really kind of like reignited the desire that I have to spend more time behind the wheel of someone. Nice. Okay, so we're going to create the material here, and I can just pick material, one of these two. I'll just use this one and say sign face. We're going to add the texture, and to add the texture, I need to save the texture. So give me a few moments. Now I can go to Gaston sign and do sign main, and that's the PNG. And it's going to be a 1.2 megabyte file. And now we can choose the material from Blender in MSFS material params, material mode standard. And we're going to pick the texture as the albedo. And bam, it looks weird and it looks off kilter. That's fine. We want it to be that way because we have to reposition it. Well, I mean, if it can be placed perfectly on the first try, that would be dope. But we'll take our victories one at a time. Now, that's selected. This is what this is here. And now we can move it around. Excuse me, I said we can move it around. And now I can see that clearly it needs to be rotated by 90 degrees. That was the wrong direction, so it's going to be rotated 270 degrees. And now we have the proper direction. So here is the deal. I need to make this big enough to encompass the entire texture. So we're going to grab these pieces and we're going to move them. And then we're going to move this piece over. Yeah, Pavlin. Cargo's actually gotten a bit diverse with his flight sim content lately. He's been cruising in GA planes, but don't get confused. He does do tube liners too. I just happen to tune in usually when he's doing GA, which is great. So you want to know what? I think that might be good enough for the textures. Let me spin this around. That's pretty good. And believe it or not, the flowers that have worked their way into this shot are probably going to work out well for us. And the reason why is because we're going to be putting this in the setting that we're going to be putting it with all the other flowers and trees that are there. Now, can I cheat a little bit and use the remaining wood grain on these posts? Because if I can, that would be dope. let's use it. Let's use sign face. And now we're going to scale. Well, I'm going to move all these first. It's not normal for you to do GA, but I gotta say, even though you don't normally do GA, it's a nice change of pace. It's like, seeing something like that, it's a chance for you to kind of like reset. Okay, now, is this worth it? I don't think so, but is it possible that I could do something with it? Let me see. Hmm, I'm gonna say no because this isn't jiving here. Let me get rid of that. Plop. Okay, great. So, yeah, yeah. So that's it. And I think I'm going to paint these. I can probably create something which makes it look like wood really quickly. Due to your old parts. Yeah, I definitely feel you there, man. Oh, and of course I want to make sure the back doesn't do weird texture stuff. So I'm going to add new material. And I'm just going to make it sign back, which is it's not it's nothing. So I'm just going to sign it and then bam, there we go. It's only on one side and there it is. So let me see if I can find even the most basic of wood textures really quickly. I'm overrunning a little bit of time, but not much. So hopefully I'll be able to finish in the next like 5-10 minutes. So where are my textures? Where are my textures? If it's 2020, model textures, and we're going to go find a wood grain, which should be enough to finish. God bless you. It's all right. In a pinch, I think this one will do. So plywood old, we're going to use that. Wait, old plywood, there we go. All right, I just want the albedo and the normal and the rough map. That should be all I need. Okay, again, albedo, normal, roughness map. Now I can take this and go to the folder where my stuff is, and we can add those textures. So bear with me. The bear doesn't know how to make scenery. That was a joke. And sign, and then drop it in. Beautiful. So now we have wood grain texture we can use for these posts. So now we are going to use this as, let's see, sign post. And now we're going to take MSFS material params, standard, and for the albedo texture, for the albedo texture, we're going to use old plywood. And we're going to look at this. And I think I forgot what the shortcut was. So I'm just going to go to UV and do a smart UV project. I think this is good. Think. Actually, that ain't bad. Now, I need to add the roughness map. And there's going to be 0 metallic. and 100% roughness, no clear coat whatsoever. It's an old piece of wood right there. And we're going to add the roughness map and the normal. Okay, so now we can do the same thing to this pole, and that should do it. So signpost, bam. And now we have the wood and we have a sign. And what's the roughness on this look like? Let me see. It almost looks a little too synthetic, but you know what? Don't care. There we go. We got a sign for Castins. Let's go ahead and save this. We'll go back to layout. And now we can select everything, click on save again, and then we can actually export this and prep it for a build. So because I'm running low on time, because I'm actually out of time, I'm not going to try to exit, do all the things nicely and finish really quickly. Like about 10 minutes. No, to do things nicely, about 10 minutes. Yeah. Actually, guys, give me a bit. Just need to step out. I'll be right back. All right, folks, I'm back. Last push. We're going to build this and place it in the sim. So I'm working on the export settings. And now we should be able to generate the file for it. It's going to be 3M0 Gaston's sign 1 XML. We're going to generate a GUID, and we're going to remember export settings, put the textures in the texture folder, and we're going to take the textures that we have, the PNGs, and we're going to copy them into the resident texture folder, which had some other stuff there before, which is now not. Bye. Bop, bop. And now we should be good. I'm going to go ahead and export the item, and I'm going to take a quick peek at the GLTF which was generated. And Dun, 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 dun. It's done. The only thing that I don't like about it is that it is actually like white on the back. So we need to change that. I need to go back here and use the sign, use the sign post. And you want to know what? For a quick hack, that'll do. That's even better. Okay, so select everything, save, export again. And that's how you throw a object together in about a half an hour. Well, maybe not perfectly, but it's done now. I'm going to close this viewer. I'm going to reopen the viewer again, and then we're going to add it into the scenery and we should be good. There we go. It ain't perfect. It's got shadows, but the posts have the freepbr.com textures that I normally use, and so does the back. Okay, now that we've exported this, I need to prep it for use in the sim. So I'm going to grab the Gaston sign folder and I'm going to take it to a different folder, like a temp folder where I can put stuff down. And there's my folder. We're going to get rid of the Blender files because we don't need them. And I'm going to put the PNG files, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, inside the texture folder. The XML bin and GLTF files are the ones that stay. We're going to get rid of these files and put those files there. So now I have texture ready. I have the Gaston sign ready, and I can copy them both. So there we go. All right, great. I can put these over in the project folder now. I should be able to. And then we should be able to do a build. It's going to take a few seconds, and if I do the build, a lot of the other text, a lot of the other objects are going to disappear, but that's okay. Let's go to Gaston's. Let's go to Sources, Scenery, Lake View, Scenery. Oh, wait. Hold on. Package Sources, Scenery, Lake View, Scenery. Oh, that's interesting. I might be missing something. Stand by. I might actually have to exit the sim briefly just to be able to get it built. Because I thought, wait, did I add something custom even if it was really basic? Oh, no, no, no. I've been using default objects. Oh, gotta get out of the way. See ya. I guess I need to create a model library. Aircraft, custom. Model library. So we'll call it model library. And now I should probably be able to add custom objects. So here we go. If I click on build all, we should be at a 0 error build. If we're not, it's because I did something wrong. Okay, 0 error build. That's fine. That's fine. Now I should probably be able to copy into the necessary folder. So we got the stuff. Package sources, scenery, model lib. Yes. Now we have the library. And now I should be able to build all again. Okay, still got 0 errors, and I should now be able to put my custom object down. So, back to scenery, everything is reloading. And now we go to 3 mic 0. And da 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 da, we've got a sign. It's facing the wrong way, but that's okay. I'm going to put it down, and we're going to put this in a new group called custom objects. Custom objects. Now, inside of custom objects, we have our sign, and we're going to rotate it. Rotate. I said rotate. No, not you. You. That's interesting. I rotated around the post. It's okay. It's okay. We'll do what we can. And now, we have a sign. I should probably move the sign closer to the road. And maybe, you know what we'll probably do? Probably bring these bushes down. Can we scale quickly? Hmm. Oh, really? Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute. I understand. I understand now. Okay, okay. I've talked about this before. Sometimes what happens is the scenery itself does not update when you are placing certain objects down. So that's what happened. It just like it ignores it doesn't necessarily ignore, but it did actually just keep the original object where it was. So I'm going to play with the size a bit and make it a little bit bigger so that it sticks out above the fauna. A little bit more scaling. It's gonna be a teensy bit larger than life, but just so you can see the sign. And the fact that the sign has flowers on it means absolutely nothing in terms of you being able to see the sign in its intended environment. So there we go. 2 scenery projects in one day. Praise the Lord. I am very happy with that. I am probably going to, provided I can, put like 1 or 2 more details on this, upload this to flightsim.to tonight so that people can actually see the sign. And maybe put 1 sign here or do something else. But there you go. I'm going to probably scale it like even a touch higher without going massive. Yeah, there we go. And I will save, build, And I'm going to go ahead and call it. Future revisions to Gaston's are probably going to sincerely change the either the satellite imagery or literally put different layers of grass down so this actually looks better than what it looks like right now, which is dirt, which isn't necessarily bad in the sense that it could be dirt, but assuming it's a grass runway and we're not coming in here in, you know, January, that should be green. That should be a nice shade of green right about now. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's the fauna that's here. I don't remember my Rex Acu seasons showing me very brown and green trees, but it could be based on what the OSM data is for the scenery. But yeah, folks, been a privilege. Thanks for coming along today. Appreciate having you guys here. I'm gonna go take care of Mrs. Digi, cook dinner, and provided I get a chance to do a little bit more scenery dev tonight, I'll probably keep working on the beacon and or a few other pieces at KPYM. That will most likely be the main focus for me this week. A few other places will get some attention, maybe one or two other airports, or it'll just be the KPYM show this week before I go away. Again, folks, the fact that there are even 6 of you here that may or may not be bots that are watching this content is a just having you here is good. I appreciate the support. Until next time, Cargo Fire, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate your support. I'll probably check in with you once this week. Cannot confirm. Well, waving to the bots in the room. Thank you. Thank you for archiving this for posterity, I guess. And you know what? Let's keep this going. Let me go and drop you guys off with somebody who is streaming Flight Sim, and we'll see what we can find. So 757 Spy is probably doing his weekend milk run to either Greece or St. Bart's or like St. Martin. Sim Caesar's doing stream, and QF Music is flying Dublin to London, and DeLorean is playing Subnautica, and Decimal 237 is doing Flight Sim, Pilot's Life Schedule, and you want to know what? Let's go say hi to Decimal 237. Let's go say hello. So let's set up the raid. Hopefully they're still streaming. And again, folks, thank you so much for stopping in today. Like I always like to say, if you want true peace in your life, and you want the Prince of Peace, and that is Jesus Christ. Folks, thank you so much for your time, for your patronage, for your support. I will be just putting or posting some updates on the Discord this week, and then I will be away for a while. So take care, folks, and until next time, see ya.